Whether you're getting involved with Earth 2 for the first time today or you've been playing around in Earth 2 and you're a veteran, one of the questions that's coming up a lot is, where should I be buying now? About a year ago, I made a video for beginners that described my strategy and what I recommended as far as where you should be buying land and why, and what kind of mindset you should have. So you didn't have to just copy where I was buying, but you could also kind of figure out your own opportunities. Now, while that stuff is still very applicable today, and I suggest you check out that video because I'm going to definitely mention some stuff in that video that's not mentioned in this video. This video is specifically intended for people who are looking to buy land in 2022 and beyond, because there have been some developments and some purchases and some information that has transpired over 2021 that has added and tweaked and kind of limited some of the strategies that I had before, but like I said, also added some new ones that I'm going to cover in this video that we just didn't see coming before. What's going on, Earth 2 novice enthusiasts and everyone in between? Welcome to another episode of Earth 2 News, where we discuss everything Earth 2. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news, strategies, giveaways, and events, make sure you are subscribed and you've got those alert notifications on. You're also going to want to check out the links in the show notes so you can learn how to win money and land in my weekly giveaways, as well as subscribe to my newsletter so you can get exclusive information before it even makes it into an episode. And if you're new to Earth 2, you're definitely going to want to check out my playlist that is dedicated to Earth 2 noobs and has a bunch of different videos that will help you understand what's happened, what's going on, and what to do next so you can skip mistakes and fast track your success. You're also going to want to make sure you're watching this on Earth 2 News. That is my channel that is dedicated to Earth 2 content. I have exclusive content on there. That's where my episodes premiere first, and that is the only channel on which I go live so we can interact. Before we get started, I want to let you know that this is part of a series I made specifically for people who are new to Earth 2, so you're able to get caught up. Or maybe you've been playing with Earth 2 for a while, but you haven't been staying up to date with all of the recent announcements, or maybe you just want to hear my take on what I've seen and what I think is coming up. In any case, you're going to want to make sure you check out the rest of the playlist on my YouTube. I'm also going to have a podcast series. To find the playlist, there might be a link popping up in the corner, or you can check the show notes for a link, or just search my channel. Now that that's out of the way, let's jump into today's episode. So I'm going to start off with some of the stuff that is still applicable, was mentioned in the last video, but as I mentioned, it would still be something I advise you execute and implement in your strategy today. The first one of which is going to be resources. Resources are going to play a major part in the Earth 2 economy, your ability to build things and develop and create assets and everything else in the future. So be mindful of where you are purchasing based on the resources that we're going to have. Now, one of the advantages that we have now that we didn't have before is we have a clear picture on which resources we can expect to be able to produce from our land. Now, what you see on your screen is something that we just didn't have in the beginning. This is a more recent development that's been added to Earth 2. So there was a lot of speculation as to what resources were going to be available, which ones are going to be the most valuable, and all sorts of other things. What we did know is we had a reason to believe that oil was going to be one of them, reason to believe that gold was going to be one of them, that fresh water was going to be one of them, but the developers were being very vague in the beginning as far as letting us know what resources we were going to be able to render, and we still don't know how they're going to be valued. Is gold going to be more valuable than oil and sand? I don't know. I feel like possibly gold may be more valuable. Maybe oil is going to be more valuable, but I could also see that everything is equally valuable because it's going to come down to how much of these resources are going to be produced. So if I have land that produces a lot of gold but no wood, and I need wood to build a structure, then I'm going to be probably willing to trade the units of gold equally, 1-for-1, for the units of wood. Maybe, just speculating based on, if you've ever played the game Settlers of Catan, kind of puts everything into perspective. All the different resources become very equal depending upon what you're able to render from your land versus what you're looking to use those resources to build. So anyway, as we can see, we've got fresh water, sand, limestone, iron ore, wood, coal, oil, and gold. Now, knowing that gold and oil were probably going to be very valuable, I intentionally bought a lot of land at gold mines and where I knew there were oil fields. Now, they did tell us that there will be a correlation based on where that area is and what those natural resources are in Earth 1. Let's call it reality. Let's call it. It's kind of creepy that I call it Earth 1, I guess. But they did say, if you're buying land in the desert, don't expect fresh water and wood. If you want wood, buy up some forest. So again, I purchased land that I already knew were established gold mines. I also bought nickel, not knowing if they were going to get really deep in all sorts of precious metal, some silver mines. I bought some iron ore areas. I also got into salt, and I figured salt was something that was very useful in the past centuries. I figured it may be something that's very useful in Earth 2. Unfortunately, as you can see, it hasn't made the list, at least not yet. But now, you being armed with what these resources are, you reduce some of the speculation. Now you can just research where these resources can be found. I will be honest, a lot of the oil and gold locations are probably bought up, but I don't remember a lot of people mentioning coal. Obviously now they're probably going for that. Wood is going to be very easy to find because there's forests all over the place. The Amazon is massive. Iron ore, limestone, sand, fresh water, all of that stuff is probably going to be a lot easier for you to find. And like I said, if you come across somebody who has invested heavily in areas that render gold and oil, but they're very poor in fresh water, sand, limestone, iron ore, wood, and all the other stuff, you're probably going to have no problem bartering or trading with them. Now, these resources are going to come into play later on when we start building assets, especially buildings and everything else. But Earth 2 the team has mentioned that they have intentions of making multiple economies within Earth 2. So I fully expect there to be a lot of depth. And like I said, the resources are going to be a cornerstone of those economies, I expect. You like free money? You want to win some free land? Well, you're definitely going to want to check out my 2 giveaways that I have going on right now. The first one is the referral raffle. To enter that, you fill out the form below, and I'm going to use your promo code when I make my purchases. The next one is going to be my land giveaway. Each and every week, I buy land and I give it away to people who use my promo code. All you have to do is use my referral code when you're making your purchases, take a screenshot of the transaction, and send it to myearth2news@gmail.com. Each week I pick a random winner who receives all of the land that I'm able to purchase for that week. Every purchase you make with my referral code is another entry, so make sure you're using my referral code on your purchases, make sure you're getting screenshots, and make sure you're sending them to myearth2news@gmail.com. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope to see you in the winner's circle. Another part of the strategy that I've also mentioned in my other videos is going to be high traffic areas. Not only high traffic in the real world, but also high traffic in Earth 2. And I'll explain that in a little detail, one of the newer parts of the strategy. So going back to high traffic, what do I mean by that? Well, downtown Manhattan, lots of traffic. Major cities like Paris and London, where there's a lot of people, but also places where it might not be at the downtown area of a city, but it may be like an airport, an amusement park, a college, a sports stadium. Why is this going to be important? Well, we also know that advertising is going to be a major source of income for Earth 2. And as a landowner, you are going to be able to receive a share of the advertising revenue developed from the land that you own. To use an example from another video, let's say that there's a business who wants to market to football fans, people who are fans of the NFL. There's a few different places off the top of my head that I think they would be smart to market at. Number 1, Football Hall of Fame. Number 2, stadiums, places like that. So if you own land at stadiums, at the NFL Hall of Fame, and they're looking to target those people in Earth 2 or people who are engaging in Earth 2 at those areas because that correlation of those locations have a pretty high probability that they have some kind of interest in the NFL, they would be paying you or paying to advertise on your area, in which case you'd be getting a portion of that advertisement revenue. Earth 2 is going to be acting like a facilitator, a broker, and they'll be getting their broker fee for setting up the advertising engagement, and you will be, as the owner of that land, you will be getting a portion of the revenue generated from that advertising. Pretty cool, right? Times Square in Manhattan, lots of people always visiting there. One thing that's going to be really cool with Earth 2 is they've mentioned there's going to be an app through which we can visit Earth 2 via AR. So while you're bored during a layover at an airport, or you're just visiting Times Square or the Eiffel Tower and you just want to see what happens to be there in Earth 2, you're going to open your app, you're going to engage, and maybe there's going to be a local bakery who's going to be targeting visitors to that area with a 10% off coupon or whatever's going on. Or maybe I'm going to have a game or an amusement park that is hosted at that airport that you have a layover at, and that's a great way for you to be entertained. And instead of charging you for that game, I'm just trying to get eyeballs to play that game and look at the screen in that area, because I've got an advertiser who's going to be paying me more based on the traffic that is in that area and the amount of eyeballs and the entertainment and the engagement that I'm able to have. Now, this segues nicely into one of the newer parts of my strategy, megacities. What are megacities? Well, megacities are something that, again, didn't exist when I made my earlier strategy videos. Check those out for sure, but one of the additions that you're definitely going to appreciate is finding megacities. And I've got a list of megacities that'll bring you to those locations, so they're much easier to find. If you want those, join my mailing list. You'll get a link to that list and it'll help you find megacities, and you can buy around them. But megacities have basically come out of Earth 2 communities. When Earth 2 first started, everybody and their mom was buying random little sizes and chunks of land at popular areas. I mentioned Times Square, Manhattan got bought up really fast, drove the price up, number one, but you have a bunch of strangers buying in this area. The disadvantage of having a bunch of strangers in that area is there's not going to really be a huge potential for a cohesive effort. Whereas megacities were actually formed through Discord communities and other chat servers and whatnot, where people grew together. They decided that they're going to establish their own city in a certain area. Most of these are all off the beaten path, so there is no other interest in this random area. Like one of them that I'm involved in is like in the middle of a desert. Nobody's buying in the middle of the desert. They don't care about the middle of the desert. Those dunes are identical to those dunes. So there's no other reason that people are focusing in that area. But that's good, because that means that the only people buying in this area were people who were part of that community, and they want to create a cohesive effort in that area, whether it's turning it into an amusement park or whatever type of themed community or kingdom we're going to have. And we're all able to already communicate, since we're already part of a Discord chat or server that is, again, intelligently designing this area. Some of these megacities are very impressive. The way they've bought the land actually creates these beautiful works of art that are very well thought out. Some of them are extremely detailed and took a lot of talent and foresight and planning to design all these different flags of different colors that have been bought and arranged in certain areas to make these really cool tapestries over the landscape. Some of them are located on remote mountaintops that aren't significant, like the top of Mount Everest or the top of Kilimanjaro, but they're still going to be cool locations where you can imagine a mountaintop city when you're in VR, being able to look out from your castle or your mansion or whatever else out on the landscape, the cities, the valleys, and everything below. It's going to be pretty cool. So if you're able to join these communities in their discords and their chat and start partaking in the community, or even just be buying around those areas, those will also be valuable, because again, advertisers are going to want to be in those areas. They're going to be highly trafficked in Earth 2, while there might not be a lot of people going in these remote areas in the real world and engaging via AR, there will be people who are spending a lot of time in these areas in VR, and it's really the same thing. Advertisers are looking for eyeballs. So if you're looking to find land that you can buy and you know it will increase in value and sustain its value, these are pretty good places for you to consider. Now, I do have another video planned for Earth 2 strategies, and that should be coming out shortly. Maybe there's going to be a link popping up over here. If not, search my channel for it because it's going to add to this information. But this will give you a good start and build upon my previous videos that, for lack of a better term, may be a little outdated and need a little bit of a revamp, but a lot of the stuff in those videos will also be applicable and mentioned in my next video having to deal with strategies. So I definitely suggest you check out the previous videos dealing with strategy as well as any upcoming videos if they're not out already. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found it informative and useful. For more information on this subject as well as deep dives into anything Earth 2, tips, strategies, upcoming events, giveaways of both cash and land, you're going to want to make sure that you're subscribed to this channel, Earth 2 News, and my newsletter, as well as checking out those links in the show notes below. Until my next episode, I look forward to helping you find your way around Earth 2.